Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. So today, I'm looking at Casper. Now, full disclosure, I own Casper, not very much of it, and I honestly don't know too much about the mechanics of the cryptocurrency. There are probably many other experts on that. What I can speak of is the chart structure. I actually find this chart rather fascinating. I believe it is a repetitive structure, and I think there is a potential that it can do quite well based on the chart structure. So I am going to give you an overview of this chart structure, and I will present my case to you. You can take it or leave it, think of it what you will, but I want to at least put the case out there that Casper has the potential to do quite well. One other important thing to note, I am not sponsored in any way by Casper or anyone else. This is of my own volition from my own research that I am inspired to make this video. Also, I'm using CoinTrader Pro for this analysis because it allows me to go back in time on a small time frame. So the best place to start is at the beginning. Okay, so here we are at the very beginning of the chart. This chart starts in 2021, and as you can see, I have these boxes drawn all over the place. I'll explain as I go. So I have this on a 1-hour candle chart, and it's important that we are zoomed in into a small time frame because the nuances are important. It starts off with a move up. Now, in this move up is this little correction that takes place before coming to a peak. Now, this is important to note how this comes to, so it comes to a peak, it's just a straight line. After that, it comes back and then forms what I call this topping structure. That may not be the right definition for it or the most accurate definition, but it comes after this initial peak right here that is formed at the end of the bull run. So this structure right here, the characteristics of this structure is that it kind of goes down, comes back up. It's range bound, but it breaks to the downside. So this next box here is that break towards the downside. It comes down to a point before moving up. Let's move along into this range-bound kind of sideways time. So this is a greater range-bound sideways time that takes place after the decline. Now, the characteristics of this structure here is, again, it is range-bound, but it kind of oscillates. It goes up, comes back down, goes up again, comes back down, and then it does this kind of chop along here before moving back up into the next fractal. So this fractal right here, this second fractal within this greater sideways range-bound time, is defined by this move up, this drop. It goes sideways, it moves up again, forming this bowl-type structure right here before moving sideways and flat after that. So once this structure is complete, it drops and does this kind of rounded peak right here, this dome, before beginning its aggressive move up. Okay, so let's zoom in here a little bit. So we have this little correction right here after this dome, and after this little correction, we move up and form a larger correction right here that precedes the peak. Now, at this point, we're getting into a repetitive structure. So this correction right here is this right here. So it's the same phenomenon, this correction that takes place before it comes to a peak. So this is that correction that took place here before it came to a peak. So now we are officially in the repetitive structure. So this part right here is the original concept of the Casper chart. Everything else moving forward in time will be a copy of this structure right here. So We see it comes to a peak here, just like it came to a peak over here. Now we have this topping part right here that undulates up and down. We see the same thing here. It moves up and down before breaking to the downside. And on this one, it didn't quite break as deep as it did over here, and that is perfectly normal in a fractal. So fractals, when they repeat, the timing, the height, and the depth, they're always going to be unique. They're going to be original every single time it plays out. So it lends to a cursory or a superficial appearance of originality, even though behind that originality, it is that same structure playing out again. So this occurrence, it didn't go quite as deep as this one. It comes down to a point, and even here you see this little bounce right here. I venture to say that that is that, just on a grander scale. Like I said, timing, height, and depth, they're all going to be different. So after it bottoms out here, we move into that part right here where it again undulates. It's the first fractal of the three that goes sideways. So here again, it moves up, moves back down, and then, well, it moves up here, moves back down, moves up again, in the same kind of thing that it did here. And then it kind of goes into that slop right here. Here it was much smaller before moving back up into the next fractal. And again, that same kind of characteristic, that telltale sign that this fractal is repeating over here, is it moves up after this one and it forms that bowl that I showed you here. So it drops, goes sideways, moves up again. And then after that, in this one, it went more sideways and flat. This one, it just comes down to a point. So after this structure, we see this dome that appeared here. This time it's much bigger, but that same concept is repeated here just like it was here. So then what comes after this dome on this structure? The original structure was this little correction right here, which we see here. And this is where it really, Casper just kind of takes off. This is this is the interesting part of Casper. So you have these bull runs right here, and they are bull runs in their own right. They move price up to a peak, but this one, I mean, this thing it's just crazy. It blows all this out of the water. It's similar to, XRP has this in its structure where it kind of has this first plane right here, and then it shoots. There's a point where it just shot way up. However, unlike XRP, Casper comes crashing way back down to the same plane pretty much. But anyways, let's focus on this. So here we have that midway correction, just like we had way over here and way over here. This time it's much, much bigger. So this is where the chart gets a little more challenging. Well, not quite yet. So it comes to a peak just like it does in all the other ones. Let's see, over here and then over here. So it comes to that peak. And then that topping structure, which comes next, which was right here and right here, on this one, this is crazy. So it goes way up there, forms that peak, and then it just takes a nosedive. It's like utter crash. And here, so this is where it gets a little more challenging because of this massive crash. So this, I believe, is that topping structure right here. Zoom in. Now, the other one had much more defined kind of undulation where it went up, it went down. This one, it goes up, it pulls back a little, but then that's kind of it. After which it breaks. Okay, so I'm going to have to switch from an hour candle to a day candle because Casper goes from this small time structure, things that happen quickly to after this massive crash. This is like the Great Divide here. It goes from here on out, it's on a day candle structure. So the same concept, I believe, is playing out here, just on a much larger scale. So let's switch to a day candle. Okay, so here we have that move down, that where it breaks from that topping structure down to, and it breaks downward. And if you zoom in right here, let me do that real quick. So if you zoom in, you'll see even that bounce at the bottom that we see here on the original structure, and that we see over here on the second structure. Okay, so after this, it moves back up, and it does, let's zoom out. Again, we are on a day candle, so the structure is much bigger. So it does that same kind of move up, move down, move up again, and move back down as it did over here on the original structure. So moves up, moves down, moves up again, moves down to a point, and it also did it over here, albeit not as clean. It moves up, moves down, moves up, moves down, and here it just kind of went flat with kind of some slop. Now, here is where I honestly don't know what phase we are in just yet. So it goes flat and does that chop just like here before moving up and doing that bowl type thing in the next fractal. So is this that flat part? And is this that move up for that bowl type structure? If it is, I would like, to me, this is kind of anemic. I wish it would be bigger, and I don't know. So, but if it is, I would expect this to kind of move up to a similar height, maybe a little higher, but form that bowl structure. That's the key thing we're looking for. That is where we are today. It's a little confusing where we're at right now, just because there's no real drastic move up, where in the past it was a kind of a move up, a definable move up here. That was the second time it played out, and here is when the first time it played out. So this could be that. Let's zoom in. Maybe that is it. I'd like to see something like this, and then maybe continue to go flat. So if this is truly playing out again and the chart is repetitive, we have potential to see a bull run in the future. Now, will it be something like this or something like this? That is yet to be seen. I don't know the answer to that. Part of me thinks it could be something more modest like this, if there is some type of greater structure playing out where you have several small bull runs and then a massive one. It crashes and it starts all over again. I don't know. That's speculation. So, folks, time will tell. We are back at today's chart. How this plays out is yet to be seen, although I do think that there is potential for another bull run. If so, we need to finish the remaining fractals. So this is the first fractal. We need fractal 2, fractal 3 of what it does, that dome thing, and then it starts its move up. So we still have some time on this chart, but I don't know. I find it interesting. I find it fascinating. I think that there is definitely potential with the chart structure. And like I said, I don't know the mechanics of the coin. There's others that know that, and they can give you a better education on that than I can. If you found this video interesting, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. And if you find this type of technical analysis interesting, you should hit that subscribe button, because I'll be doing videos as this chart progresses. So if you're subscribed, you'll be kept up to date on my latest technical analysis on Casper. I'm not a financial advisor, so none of this should be considered investment advice or financial advice. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.